let's start with Fenster. Give me your vision of it, Erin. How do you see yourself when you sing it?
Yes, so I see myself as a nun who is in a church surrounded by these tall Mauen, and kind of I'm going through a religious kind of realization where I am it's we love the fact that it kind of sounds like church music, the constant eighth notes, and it's kind of similar to the desire for hermitage of Barber, like that kind of sentiment where being alone in this room with myself and with the spirit of God is kind of transformative. And by the end, it's like I'm so happy that I have gone on this journey and chosen to do this with my life.
Yes, Schubert had, of course, the previous years set Die junge Nonne, which is actually about death.
Yes.
It's not about a metaphysical thing. It's about that passing bell as she lies dying and realizing that she has lost her faith in the first half of the song and regains it in the second part.
Right.
You know, Seidl was a very conventional Austrian poet. He was exactly the same. He's a complete contemporary of Mörike, 1804 to 1875. He was one of the few people that Schubert knew rather well and didn't become closely friendly with, partly because Seidl was a little bit of a patriot and a right-winger and a Viennese and very, very, very good at scheming and getting his things done, and also very good at playing the religious card. However sincere that is or not is not true. But here is the Dichtungen from which Fenster comes. And it's a set of poems called Lieder in die Nacht, if you can see that. And you can also see that it's 1826, so Schubert set the poem almost straight off the press.
Wow.
Although he might have had a copy from the poet. And after the introduction, Fenster is actually the first poem in the collection.
Wow.
In here we get all sorts of other extraordinary things. The Sehnsucht, the Wanderer an den Mond, Nachtheller, which is one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written, and Das Zügenglöcklein, which is about the passing bell, which I already described as having made appearance in Die junge Nonne.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget it could also be a monk, by the way.
Yes.
And it's actually not necessarily, I don't see it necessarily in a church. It could very well be within a monastery or an abbey.
Yeah.
And everybody praying in their own space, in their own cell.
Okay.
And all the windows visible somehow. Because he is at a window, remember that.
Yes.
And being at a window is not a normal thing, at a window if you're in the middle of a church.
Right.
It would actually be more, but I think you're quite right. And I actually, when I wrote about this song, I identified it as having a religious thing because of these walls and because of the coolness of them and because of the idea of bells. And there is a campanology. Extraordinary how those 16th notes resound, isn't it? In measure 37, from 36, where you get yum, bum, right? Where you get that sort of sense of pealing and the sort of clang that comes with the repeated 16ths is something that is evocative of the sound of bells in a way that there's no other Schubert song like it in that respect.